the weather. We're going to get some weather. What's coming? Snowflakers. Faith in the flakes. Good to see everybody. Hope you guys are well.
Just after 12:45, firefighters are dispatched to the 1700 block
right.
in Westminster for a one-story.
Good to see everybody. Hey, tune in. Welcome, welcome. Make sure you let us know your thoughts and questions. 301-694-9363. We want to hear from you, or you could text it. You can text in your ideas and comments as well.
The U.S. Agriculture Department will be investing more than $980 million. They'll create new and better market opportunities.
All right. 15 more seconds, and here we go.
I'm Kevin McManus, WFMD News.
The 9:30 WFMD Skyscan forecast for Frederick and surrounding counties. As we head into the evening, mostly clear with a lower and light north wind. Saturday,
we're on soon. Here we go.
5 miles per hour. Saturday night we'll have a
all right, here we go.
1 a.m. with a lower end 34 light.
You ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
Ooh, bring me up a little. There we go, right there. Good. Ready? All right, here we go.
This is your Frederick Real Estate Update, a conversation about the regional real estate market with tips for buyers and sellers. Your hosts, RE/MAX Results, Darren Ahern, and Presidential Bank Mortgages.
Hey folks, welcome back to your Frederick Real Estate Update. I am Darren Ahern, bringing you 20 years of experience here, selling and helping sell and buy homes, and all the people out there in Maryland and Southern PA areas. And I also have with me the man with all of the money over at Presidential Bank Mortgage, Mr.
Terry Kernan.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho.
Yes,
here we go. All right.
Absolutely, yeah. Everything's going great. I was at the Knights of Columbus in Durwood, my Knights of Columbus last night.
Yeah.
Santa Claus was there. It was for the Special Olympians.
Nice.
What a special night it was.
All right.
And there were more participants last night than there's been as long as I can remember.
That's excellent.
So
a lot of people getting involved.
Night. Yes. So it really got me into the spirit of the holidays.
Yeah. Well, we got our stuff up, and my boys, and we got everything. Everybody's having a good time. They're getting ready in the spirit now. It's starting to kick in now. They're realizing it. But the big thing they want to know, Terry, is where's all the snowflakes, the faith in the flakes, and when are we going to go skiing? So I just last night with them sat down. We booked our trip to Killington. They want to go back up to Vermont and go skiing and have fun doing that. So we're going to have a good time. So we're planning already. All right, let's get right on into it in the real estate world. Terry, mortgage stuff. Before we do, you know what? I want to do inventory real quick. We'll hit that and just slide right into it. Total active properties on the market, 402. That's it. That's everybody. Say it. Everybody.
How many of that is...
402.
How many is that new construction?
New construction, 178. That number's come up. We always have been at 150, 160. We're at 178.
130 is, but yes.
We're up.
In talking to builders, things have slowed down tremendously.
Oh, yeah.
And actually was with Michael Currier last night.
Okay.
And Michael runs for the National Association of Home Builders. He's in charge of the convention. So
That's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
Real big.
And I go to the convention every year, and Michael does a great job, but he's in charge of it. And so we talked to him about maybe getting him on in January, right before the convention, kind of talk a little bit about what's going on nationwide. But he said what we're seeing here is nationwide right now, and that's a big slowdown for the builders. But he also said something that you know is always we know about is the supply is still very, very low because we don't have the people to build the houses.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, multifamily is very, very big, but the single-family homes, there's still a short supply.
Sure is. All right, resales. So that's 178 new construction. Resales 224. Average time in the market 52. We keep going up.
Keep going up. What was it, 50?
Yeah.
47?
Yeah, 47, 48. We're at 52. So I'm telling you, every week we're seeing the average time on the market to get a home under contract is about 2 to 4 more days. So we're seeing that continuation of slowdown. Median price 484. Coming soon 23. Like I said, that's like a non-existent number almost. Pending on a contract, total is 478, which means if you take the total actives at 402 and the pending on a contract at 478, we still have under a 1 month supply.
That's it.
That's it. 1 month supply. So what we're experiencing is you would think, well, wow, we should have every home going under contract like this, multiple offers, everything should be like it was 9 months ago, but that is not the case. And we're going to talk a little bit more and hit on that about what's changed. So pending on contracts, the resale, the 261, past 30 days sold 301. That is 10 a day is selling. The average time on the market of those, and these are just the average time for resales, is 21 days. Here's a fun one, Terry. Year to date, 3,754 homes have sold since January 1st in Frederick County. The average time on the market of those homes, resale only, is 15 days on the market. And the list to sell ratio is 100.9. And right now, the list to sell ratio is at 97.9. And so that's what's down. And that's getting, that's staying in relative to the market. And the highest, the most expensive home that is sold in all of Frederick County, there's actually two of them. One of them is a farm that's 157 acres. And the other one was south of Frederick, for $1.8 million. So it sounds like, yep, year to date.
Year to date.
Yep.
Highest sales, 1.8.
$1.8 million. That's the highest in Frederick County. Two homes, neck and neck, $1.8 million each. And I don't think anybody's going to break that record in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So that's the numbers I got for us.
Do you know what the highest priced home on the market is now?
I don't. I can get that. I don't know at the moment.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll do it next week. Make a note of that. What's the highest home on the market? How long? What is it? Where is it? And all that good stuff. And that real estate agent it's not mine. So the real estate agent that has it for sale right now is going to owe me a shout out. So, all right, let's get right on into it, Terry. Let's talk mortgage stuff. And the big thing I wanted to ask is this, and because this is becoming a thing again. We haven't done this in a long time. We're talking about credit, or your FICO, your credit report, how that works. Those things have changed over time, as we know. So this is really important for our listeners. And so here's the thing. If you're tuning in, guys, here's the deal. 301-694-9363. Text it in, or you can give a phone call. Any questions you have, because predominantly we're going to be talking a lot about. We are now starting to see more and more buyers that have come out of the woodwork that couldn't buy a house because they were getting hit with 20 offers and they kind of knew, I don't know what my credit score is. Let me check on Credit Karma because they know everything, like Zillow knows values. That was sarcasm. And so all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, what do I do with can I qualify for how much? What about this? What about that? So Terry, let's talk about rough credit. I don't want to say bad credit because that's like saying somebody's got bad behavior. Things that happen to your credit. It could be a number of things. It could be a number of situations. There's nothing, whatever it is. We just talk about what are the things on credit, Terry, that as lenders you guys find that are kind of like dings and bangs and hiccups and, rough stuff that it's like, all right, this has happened. This is your life. This is what we got to evaluate. And how do we repair it and deal with that? So let's start from your ideas as a lender. When you pull someone's credit, which you must do to be pre-qualified, what are the things that you experience, that you see, that you're seeing with people, and how do you help them out, and how do you advise them through all of the credit stuff that's crazy? Go ahead.
So the first thing we do is we pull credit, and we pull it from all three bureaus.
Okay.
So you get 3 credit scores. And they could range, they could be as different as 60, 70 points from the highest to the lowest. So what do? We throw out the highest and the lowest, and we use the middle score.
Okay.
Now, let's be very, very clear here. When we pull a credit report, that is an industry-wide credit report. That is, if you go to another mortgage company, you're basically going to have the same exact, not same exact, but very, very close to the same credit, okay?
Okay.
But if you go to Credit Karma and you pull it up on your phone and you say, hey, I've got a 722 credit score, but you're telling me that my middle score is at 620. What's going on?
Yeah.
Well, that happens a lot because A, Credit Karma is only pulling from one.
Yep.
And B, it doesn't always have the same formula that is used for the mortgage industry.
Good point. Yep.
So just because you have a credit score that you have pulled off of the internet with, credit
Doesn't matter where.
Doesn't matter where.
Doesn't matter where.
It does not count when you're buying a mortgage. Okay?
Excellent. That's what
So that's
people need to
one.
know.
Number one. And the number one question is, well, why? Why? Because this one's higher. Well, because you can't do it that way. They're going to tweak their credit scores to make it look good, right?
Yeah, they want you to feel good. They want you to pay money for more.
Yes. So that's number one, is that we're going to use 3 scores that we pull. Every mortgage company, there's about 5 or 6 credit companies that we pull from, and we use the middle score, throw out the high and the low. Now let's talk about credit scores and what the values are. 620 and below is usually when you're getting into a rough area where it makes it very tough to get a mortgage.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
620 to 640, it's not great. Okay. 640 to 660, it gets a little better. 660 to 680, better. Once you hit 700, now we're talking that it's getting into the good credit.
Okay.
But where does the excellent credit begin? And that is at 760 and above.
That's what people
excellent.
want to know. Like,
That's what people.
All right. 760 and above credit average is like your kind of your A paper stellar. You're going to get a best interest rate, all that, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So what's the advantage of having a higher credit score? Number one, you just said it, you get a better rate.
Okay.
Bar none. Better rate because you're a better credit risk.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Makes sense, right? So the higher the score, the better the credit. It also opens up many more programs for you the higher that your credit score is. Mm-hmm. So you can do a conventional loan. You can do a conventional loan all the way down. You hear about Fannie and Freddie. We talk about it on the show all the time. But that credit score, if you were at 720 or 740 or 760, doing a conventional loan makes all the sense in the world because you get rewarded on a conventional loan if you have a high credit score. Once you get under 700, then on a conventional loan, the interest rate starts to become very, very tough to get. And if you put less than 20% down, you have mortgage insurance. And that mortgage insurance, you get rewarded the higher the credit score. So if you're at a 680 credit score, I'm going to guess that a conventional loan isn't going to make sense, that we're going to have to look at an FHA loan. And the reason we look at an FHA loan is FHA is not for first-time homebuyers. It's backed by the federal government. And what you have is you have a much more credit-friendly situation. Mm-hmm. So we do credit scores all the way down to 580 on an FHA.
Wow.
So that's a really dinged-up credit. Okay?
Yeah, but we'll get you in.
But that number after the crash was 640.
Wow.
So they've lightened up as it goes.
You ain't kidding.
And so now went down to 620, then it went to 600, and now recently 580. You're starting to see more and more investors looking to buy that. As your credit score drops on an FHA or VA loan, you are not hurt as bad interest rate wise. Right. Now, as far as mortgage insurance, let's talk about FHA. FHA, whether you have a 780 credit score or you have a 680 or a 580, your mortgage insurance is the same exact.
Wow.
0.85%. So that's why people, once we get under 700, we start looking at FHA because that is a better program. We have not done a lot of FHA loans in the last 20, 30 months, right? And the reason we haven't is because we talk about it all the time, is that competition, okay? We're talking about fierce competition to buy a house. We're talking about multiple contracts. So the first thing that you as a listing agent and most listing agents is you look at what the contracts are.
Yes.
And the cash deal is going to win over the conventional deal that's 50% down or 80% down. Sometimes, you're going to look for the best contract to present. Well, FHA doesn't always fall into that category. So a lot of the FHA buyers that wanted to buy when rates were at 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, they were being nudged out of the market. So we're starting to see more and more FHA borrowers, people with dinged credit, okay? And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad credit and they didn't pay their bills. Because one of the biggest things is people that have dinged credit, they don't know they have dinged credit.
Surprise.
Okay. Oh, I don't know what happened. So I say, well, you got to investigate this medical collection that's $1,250. Well, I have no clue. And they call up and they say, well, my son had to go to the hospital, and and when you're in the hospital, if a doctor walks past your room, he can charge you. So there's things that happen, but medical collections are number one.
Okay, that's a number one thing. That's the surprise for most consumers. Okay.
Yeah, that's the number one surprise is medical collections. The other is, I turn my phone in, or I turn my, I was renting a house, and the utilities were in my name, and when I left, I forgot to move them out, and the guys that I went to college with were still living there, and they didn't pay.
Oh.
So things like that, things that are surprises that they're like, oh, darn it. And a lot of people get very, very upset. So the number one thing about credit is most people that have dings, and a ding like that can drop your credit score from a 780 down to a 680
Wow.
in a heartbeat, okay?
Wow.
So number one is most people don't know that they have bad credit until they run it, okay? The second thing is it is fixable, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, not all the times it's not fixable, but we have what's called Credit Expert. Credit Expert, basically, we type in, they run your credit report, and then we take a look at it, and it'll basically have things that you can do to bring up your credit score. Mm-hmm. Is it manipulating it? No, it's basically just bringing it up to where it should be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's the thing that I get. Is it smart? Anybody that has like a lower deemed credit, this that, or has something derogatory on it, whatever, and they get these phone calls from companies, and they say, "Hey, look, if you pay us $299 today, we're going to fix your credit. We're going to deal with this, and we're going to help get it up." Is that a smart move?
It depends who the company is.
Okay.
Okay. So these are credit repair companies, and you can find them all over the place, but my recommendation is deal with a reputable one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because a lot of them will just take your money.
Okay.
But there are some that actually will dispute. And how does that work? Is basically what they do is if somebody has a closed account, let's say they didn't pay a car or repossessed car, the bank or whoever closed it is going to sell that note for basically 10 cents on the dollar.
Wow.
To a collection agency, and that collection agency is going to start badgering you. Well, there's a good chance that in that transaction, not everything was forwarded to the new owner of your collection.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is the credit repair companies will inundate
Yes.
the collection companies with requests for information, and if they don't provide that information, they have to drop the collection.
Okay.
So they inundate the collection companies. So the collection companies overwhelm you because there's a doctor that made a claim, or there's a credit company or a credit card, or somebody made a claim against you. You get overwhelmed. And what you're doing is you're turning around and paying somebody to overwhelm them.
Oh, okay. I see it.
Do you see?
I get it.
And so if they get overwhelmed, then you will eventually win the battle, but it's going to cost you money. So the company that you hire for credit repair must be a reputable company. That's the bottom line. And but there's a lot of non-reputable companies out there that you hear, well, geez, I did this credit repair for a year, my scores never went up. Well, they weren't doing anything.
Right.
So that does happen. But the one thing about credit, the biggest thing, and while people have, this is the one thing that I try to stress, is the number one cause for bad credit, other than having a collection or missing a payment, the number one cause, and this is for everybody out there that has never been late on a payment, is if you have a 650 credit score, you've never been late on your payment, I really don't have to look very far to see what's going on. I pretty much know that you have a very low balance on your credit accounts, but you also have a very low credit limit, Okay?
Okay.
So if you owe $500 on a credit card and your credit limit is $500, you're overextended, right?
Yeah, right.
That's going to drop your credit score like a rock. So in those situations, I have the people do two things. One is pay down the credit card.
Yep.
Other thing is call and get your limit raised to $2,000.
Right. Get that spread.
Get the spread. So then instead of being 100% drawn down on that account, you're only 20% down. And that's where they like to see it. They like that sweet spot. Anything between 5 and 30%
Okay.
of your credit limit, that's where they are looking to be. Okay? That's where the machine, when it reads your scores and creates your scores, and that doing just that alone can raise your credit score 100 points.
Okay. One of the biggest things, Terry, that we get a lot of is when I just had this happen. Hey, I'm afraid to call a bunch of lenders instead or check things out on the internet too much instead. I'm afraid it's going to kill my credit. My credit's going to go down 10, 20, 30 points if I start clicking around or I start calling your guy and then this person. And I tell people, look, it doesn't work quite probably the way you think, but I always say, come to the professional lenders. They're going to tell you, you may have a 800 credit score, and by getting 2 or 3 good faith estimates or like talking to lenders or doing whatever, how do you handle that? What's the truth about this whole thing of your credit being affected by having too many inquiries? And what does that look like? How many is that?
So that is a great point, because that's one of the biggest concerns people have.
Yep.
When I say, okay, we look at 4 areas. We look at credit, income, job stability, funds to go to closing. We'll pull your credit. I don't want you to pull my credit.
Yeah, right.
Well, I need to pull your credit in order for you to get pre-qualified.
But
well,
why?
I don't want you to pull my credit because my credit score is going to go down. That is the biggest
Is that a lie?
Well,
how does that work?
So let me explain how it works. If I pull your credit score will not go down. If me and somebody else pull your credit, let's say you're going to compete and you're going to shop and you're going to do your due diligence and this, that, and the other, and 2 people pull your credit,
okay,
it's not going to go down.
Good.
If you go buy a car and they say, hey, we're going to get you the best available rate, and they will shop you with 15 people, all of a sudden you have 15 credit inquiries on your credit report.
Okay.
That sends off an alarm.
Yes.
And that alarm is basically you are trying to obtain credit at an astronomical amount. It doesn't discern the fact that you're shopping interest rates on a car.
Right.
It basically interprets it as saying you're out there trying to get credit. So that's when your credit scores start to go down, is when you have 5, 6, 7. And it goes down about a point and a half from what I've been told in trying to figure out, but it goes down about a point and a half every time you pull after like 3 credit scores. After like the 3rd person, it starts to go down like a point and a half.
Okay.
So when the refis come back.
Yes.
When the refis come back, and the number one group of people that shop mortgage rates are people refinancing.
Okay.
If you go onto a lending tree and you put all your information in, and they'll come to me and I'll pull it up, and there'll be 15 mortgage companies.
Wow.
And that will hurt their credit. And I'll be like, well, don't give your information out to every person and every job or every site that you get on. Because, yes, so the bottom line, long answer, but the bottom line is 1 or 2 people, totally fine. 15, 10, 8, not totally fine. But those pulls go away after 90 days.
Okay. That's what people want to know, too. How long of a time that if I don't inquire with my credit, how long does it take before it doesn't, quote, unquote, affect me negatively anymore?
Yes.
90 days?
90 days.
See? This is great stuff. Let me ask you this. Can you, before I finish up the program with a couple ideas here, I know a lot of our listeners, online, there's that, Frederick Court, whatever.com, whatever site, you get 1 a year, whatever, but listen, what if somebody wants to just check with you, Terry? They just say, you know what, I'm going to bypass all the stuff, I'm going to go to the professional, would you help me, can you pull up my credit, I'm thinking of buying down the road here, even if it's a year away or whatever, how much does that cost me, how does that work, can I do that now, is it going to affect me, how's that work?
So basically, if somebody wants to buy a house and get ready to buy a house and they want to get prepared, I'm going to run their credit up front. If somebody thinks that they have issues, we're going to run the credit up front and then deal with how we can get the scores up over the next 6 months. So it doesn't cost anything for me to do that. It's basically part of what I do. And
Excellent.
It's basically, let's figure it out now.
All right. So at the end of the program, Terry's info is on there. Hey, we got 5 minutes left or so. You can call in or text in 301-694-9363. We want to hear from you. By the way, we get times after with the program and such like that, Terry. I know you've had calls just recently, right after the program, people asking about things and wanting to help and questions, and I get it as well, or an email and stuff like that, because we're pretty easy to get tracked down here and all that. So Life on the Streets, here it is, Terry. Remember the property I was talking about down in Sandy Spring that I've had on the market on Martin Lane, 4-bed, 2.5 bath, 2,500 plus square foot.
Needs a little bit of work.
Colonial, 4.3, 2-attached garage, swimming pool, the whole 9 yards, needs a ton of work, needs all that good stuff. We had 20 showings, 5 offers, and we did get that bad boy under contract. And the best part about it was this: get ready in this market. Come on, this is it. I feel like 8 months ago, no inspection.
Really?
No inspection. Get out of
This
here.
is a house that needs
Get out of here. No inspection. None. Zero. No contingencies. No house to sell. No closing costs. No nothing. Best terms and conditions for my seller. We did it. And there's 2 contingencies to buy this house. You ready? Guess what they are. Ready? An appraisal, because they're doing a loan. 20% plus down. We're golden. I think we're going to be good. We settled December 28th. That will be my last settlement of the year. That will put me just over 50 homes for the year. And so I'm pretty happy about it. Great house, great property down there. My last home to settle this year. It seems like to me, unless somebody comes in on my awesome place down there in Newmarket on Worcester Terrace over there in Newmarket, which is a gorgeous house. Unless somebody comes in with cash and can kick my sellers out of there on December 31st before we start coming into 2023, there you go. That would be the next one. So, all right. So that one worked out pretty good. My sellers are really, really happy with how we navigated, marketed, and got that thing done. So I just want to ask one thing. Who's next? Who needs that kind of service next? How's that? All right. So Life on the Streets. One other thing in 3 minutes time, unless something comes into our producer here. One of the things that's on the horizon that's a little interesting, a lot of people are still interested in land, and I want to build my dream home. I want to build on land and everything like that. We're going to do some more research into this, but there has been a little bit of chatter. 2 minutes here, Terry. A little bit of chatter about perk approvals and what kind of system and how many bedrooms it's perked for and what kind and when and where and what. Here's the deal, guys. I just settled this last week. I had like 4 settlements this last week, so it's been really good catching up and getting a lot of stuff done. One of them was on a parcel of land, a little over 8 acres in Thurmont, gorgeous property we just settled on. And here's the deal. You got restricted and non-restricted, and when can you perk and has it been done and what's the history and all stuff like that. Here's the thing that's coming on forward. And my guys did their due diligence and all that stuff, and we did all that good stuff. But here's the problem we're looking at coming up. There's a little chatter that any property that you have a lot that's been perk approved, it's been recorded by county, anything prior to 2018, there's the talk that there may not be any guarantees that that's going to still be a 4-bedroom perk, conventional, this, that, and all this sort of stuff. And anything that's been perk approved since 2018 until now, well, that's in place, that's in solid gold, and that's done. So this could become a really big issue if things in the past are not grandfathered in to be able to be deemed as the same status that was already established at a previous date for a lot. This is a big hot topic potentially coming up. Because here's why. It could absolutely change what somebody as a buyer could do with that lot, what they want to build, put on there, and it could very seriously affect negatively values. So, guys, take care. Have an awesome weekend. We're going to be back next week. Your Frederick Real Estate Update. And we're here for you. Take care now. All right. Good having you guys. We will see you on this other side of the fun side of the island. Take care now. Happy Christmas shopping and all that good stuff. Get me my present. Get Terry his. We'll see you soon.